What's up, guys? Shake Somebody here. Another week, another episode. We get into PSL promotion relegation playoffs. Over 40 players released by football clubs. Football clubs killing careers? We get into all of this. Let's go.
That's how it goes?
They keep asking about the best when they know it's me.
Okay.
Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Straight in, I guess.
You know it's me.
So let's start off with the PSL promotion relegation playoffs. They started last week already. 3 teams being Tuks, being Swallows, and as well as Cape Town All-Stars. I was not able to watch the game between Cape Town All-Stars and Tuks, but Tuks obviously got the important victory. And from then on, we moved on to Cape Town All-Stars going up against Swallows. And from then, Swallows grabbed the 3 points, which was very crucial. Then this weekend, I was looking forward to seeing this game because I thought if you start the group stage early by getting the 3 points, it's going to be very crucial between Tuks and as well as Swallows who gets the 3 points. And I think it would have given them one gigantic step in terms of having to be in the DStv Premiership next season. So I watched that game. I thought it was very interesting. When I saw that game, I just thought there were times that Tuks was showing too much respect to Swallows. You know, you could just see that Swallows were the DStv Premiership side. But Swallows too, if you had went at them, and especially what you've seen throughout the season, they're capable of leaking goals. But I just think Tuks showed them way too much respect. And Swallows, on the other hand, they just didn't take their chances. I mean, in the second half, they really played really well. They created chances. Mhango having to get on a chance at the end, not being able to put it away. And then you sort of sit back and you think, who does this point benefit? Because Tuks is sitting at the top of the log at this moment. But Swallows, the next game that they play Tuks is going to be at home. But before then, Cape Town All-Stars can have a say. So as you can see on screen right now, the table looks like this. So at this point, Tuks is number 1 with 4 points. Swallows number 2 with 4 points, and as well as Cape Town All-Stars, they've got 0 points. But they can still have a say because that draw over the weekend is something that helped them out. But it's going to be very crucial because Cape Town All-Stars play Tuks and as well as Swallows within a space of 3 to 4 days. So they need to win both games to at least get 6 points and still be within the running. But from what I've seen so far, you probably would say they are the weakest of the 3 so far, but they can have a say in terms of who is going up. So these are the remaining fixtures. So on the 8th of June, as you can see, Tuks is going to be playing Cape Town All-Stars at home. And then Cape Town All-Stars keep going up against Swallows at home on the 11th of June. And then the last one, the big one, and I think this is going to be the big decider between Swallows and Tuks. And Swallows actually being at home sort of gives them the advantage. But also Tuks have to go into that game not being able to respect Swallows too much. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing how that goes. And with the coming weeks, who is going to be in the DStv Premiership next season? It's too hard to tell, but let's see what happens. Let's talk about the Bafana captain, Ronwen Williams, the SuperSport United goalkeeper. He's come out this week and he's spoken. He's spoken about his desires of potentially having to go elsewhere from SuperSport United. And these were his quotes. So he was asked in terms of would he like to join Mbule Sundowns? And this is what he had to say. Definitely, who wouldn't want to play for the champions? I mean, they are the pinnacle of South African football at the moment and for the last few years. And it will only benefit me playing Champions League football or Confederations Cup football because, like you said, I am part of the national team and that will only boost and help me. So any offers that come, if the offer is good and the club is happy, then we shake hands and move on. But like I said, I think I'm at a time now when I need to challenge for things. I think I've done fairly well over the years, so we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. So that's the Bafana captain speaking about the fact that potentially a chance to play for the champions. But what was key as well is that he also mentioned the fact that Confederations Cup football. So meaning that maybe not only Mbule Sundowns, but maybe another club that's also competing within CAF football. So I decided, okay, let's do this because we must remember, Ronwen Williams is 30 years old at this current moment. Number 1 for SuperSport United, getting a lot of games. I decided to put all the clubs that most likely he is talking about. So as you can see on screen, we've got 5 clubs at this moment. And with the goalkeepers that they all have at this moment. Sundowns, Mhango, Mwini, Peter Goss, and February. They're there. Cape Town City, they've got Marcus, they've got Darren Keat, Mbule, Anderson, and Oliaro. Royal AM, Nyame, Chaine, Mpoto, Kaizer Chiefs, they've got Peterson, Bruce Zuma, Etumlen Kune, and Buntle Mulifa, the youngster. Then Orlando Pirates, Ofori, Bonjane, Sandilands, and Sotole as well, the youngster. So you ask yourself, as a guy who watches a lot of football, where most likely is Ronwen Williams able to go to and able to play more games? That Sundown side with Onyango and Winnie as well, I think it's so locked. It's so locked. And I said this about it when Ricardo Goss went there. I just was not sure if he's going to break that deadlock. I'm not sure if Ronwen Williams is going to be able to break the deadlock. Then you look at what happened at Cape Town City. We have the goalkeeper of the season there. He kept the clean sheets, and I think he is strong enough to go head on. And there's still Darren Keat to compete with. And Royal AM, look, I think there's a chance for him to probably start there, but it looks like Royal AM is a huge fan of Nyame, and I don't think he'd be able to come in and break that structure of the goalkeepers, because Nyame has been someone who has been able to play so much games that even Jackson Mabukwane had to leave the club to go elsewhere. Kaizer Chiefs, the 4 goalkeepers, I think even the 3, either one of them can be number ones. Tumulin Kune is not playing games, guys. He's not playing games. So you ask yourself, would Ronwen Williams be able to come in and break that structure? It's going to be very hard. And Orlando Pirates, look, we don't know what's going to happen with Sandilands. Could he go into goalkeeping coach role? Could he go on for another year? Of course, he's within his late 30s. Bonjane looks like he's a solid number 2. Ofori is arguably at times Ghana's number 1. And I have to say, look, Ronwen Williams I don't think he's going to like to hear what I have to say, but I'm going to try to be as honest as possible and be as objective as possible. You're 30 years old, and possibly at a goalkeeping position, you've got probably another 8 years to play for. But maybe you left it a little bit too late to try figure out where else are you going to go. And sometimes for footballers, it's not always greener on the other side, guys. It's not always green on the other side. And I make the example that I spoke about Ricardo Goss, having to question why would he leave, having to start games week in and out for Bidvest Wits, and then all of a sudden now he's fallen far down the pecking order. You have such a good thing that's happening at SuperSport. You're the number 1, you're the captain, you're playing all the time, and you're at the prime of your career. And also being the Bafana captain, you're required to play a lot so that you're selected all the time. Look what happened to Tulan Hlatshwayo. That was Bafana's captain. And eventually, he went to Orlando Pirates. Things did not work out the way he would have liked, and eventually had to be dropped from the squad. So in my opinion, I think your best solution is probably to stay at SuperSport United. This week, clubs releasing players. Yes, and they released over 40 players. And that sort of built up the question in terms of, why were there so many players released? You don't usually see that kind of number released. And that was not even from all the clubs within the DSTV Premiership. We're still waiting to see what other players are going to be released from other clubs. But there were so many, and you sort of ask yourself the planning for the clubs, because it was Maritzburg United, they came out, Kaizer Chiefs came out as well, Sekhukhune as well came out with the players that they released, and the planning that they have for the season to release so many. And maybe even the finances. I think the finances are a bit crunchy. I think to be able to maintain a football club and to be able to maintain players as well, maybe it is a little bit costly. And I think maybe the route that clubs are going to take going forward now is to probably bring up the youth players they have within their teams. I think that's the route that a lot of clubs are going to go, because when I looked at the number of players that were released, I thought you could see experience in a lot of players that were released. You could see players that played a lot of games, and maybe they're making room for possibly the next gems that are going to come in. And speaking about gems, I actually looked at all those players, all 46 of them, I think, and came up with actually about 8 names that I thought, okay, these are the gems. I think other football clubs, if they could take a chance with these players, maybe there's something there. Number 1, Kieran Buckers. I think Kieran Buckers would be a steal for a lot of clubs. I think a player who's able to dictate tempo, who's able to slow it down, bring it up a notch as well. And also the fact that the experience that he has, he's played international as well. So I just think at another club, it didn't work out at Kaizer Chiefs, but maybe for another club, it could work out. Denlek Pay being number 2, when he was released by Kaizer Chiefs, I felt that was a little bit hard done by him. I thought if you asked me over the last 3 years at Kaizer Chiefs, who has been the best goalkeeper there, with all the keepers that have played, I would argue that Denlek Pay was possibly the best goalkeeper. I think they released him because also the sporting director spoke about having to reduce the average age of the squad. So I think any club would be able to take him on. He's also a Nigeria international. He does get called up for his national team. Number 3, Samir Nekovic, spoke about him. I think obviously the system that Atazwane was playing at Kaizer Chiefs was not suiting him, and that's fine, it happens. But he's proved that within his first season, he was capable of scoring goals. And I think if he goes to another club with the right system, he would be able to score goals. I can see him scoring goals for Maritzburg United, for example. I think Ernst Mindop would just know his strength for strength, and he'd be able to score goals there. A surprise name, number 4, Lazarus Mbule. Yes. I know a lot of you guys are watching the screen and saying, but Shakes, he's only scored 2 goals in 46 games. How? Yes, he only scored 2 goals for Kaizer Chiefs, which was a surprise for all of us. But when I saw the video when he came in and what the player that he was at Zesco and as well as for Zambia, he was a really good player. And I just think also with him, it's the same feeling that I get with Nurkovic as well. It's a style thing. I think if he gets into a team and he fits really well, and I think also if he just grabs his first opportunity at the new club, I think he'd be a steal as well. And I think his pace, his pace can burn a lot of defenders. So I've put him there. Another player, Riaz Ismail, he left Maritzburg United. The reason why I like him is because he's always trying, when he's playing on the pitch. He's always trying. He's always giving his best effort. He's only 24 years old. I think there is someone there. There is a defender in there that can be taught as well to defend and become a better player and mature really well. I really think he could be a good buy for some clubs. And then Phumlani Ntshangase, middle of the park. If you want him to play anchor, he could play that. If you want him to be a deep-lying playmaker, he could do that as well. My only frustration I'll probably have with Ntshangase is the fact that he's not been able to settle at a football club. He's not been able to stay there long for some time. Surprisingly enough, he's only 27. You would think that with all the football that he's seen throughout his time, he's probably been around for a long time, but only 27 years old. And I just think if he gets his head down and he's focused, he can be a really good buy. And then the last one, Justin Shonga. I get frustrated when I talk about this player. I get frustrated because I believe the good player that he can be, the player that he was at Orlando Pirates, but he's good, right? But you have to question, he's not also been able to settle at clubs. Now you ask yourself, why? He's gone out of the country, he's gone to another club in Egypt, and he didn't stay there long. He came back to Sekhukhune, scored a brilliant goal for them as well. Still, they released him. By the way, he came in, he didn't even stay so long at Sekhukhune. I think there's decisions that he's making, and that's not really good for his career. And I just really hope that he'll be able to turn around and just make decisions really well, because before you know it, your football career is gone, So I think he could also be something for a club. But when he went to Cape Town City, it also didn't work there. And if it doesn't work at Pirates, Cape Town City, Egypt, and as well as Sekhukhune, in a short space amount of time, then you ask yourself, is he making the right decisions? So those are the gems that I feel could add to other clubs as well. With the players that were released this week, there is one player that we have to talk about. I think he's a player that deserves his flowers, and I'm going to give it to him. 11 years at a football club, over 350 games, 62 goals, 40 assists, 2 league titles, 1 Telkom knockout, 1 MTN8, 1 top goal scorer award, a legend of the football club, a Kosi, Bernard Parker. I think you've been a great soldier for the football club. Just being able to be committed to the club, being able to give your all for the club, playing in various positions, up front, on the wing, in the middle, left back. You played almost every position, man, except for goalkeeper. And you never complained. And this has to be spoken about. You were scapegoated a lot, man. You were scapegoated a lot for poor performances that the club had in recent years. But for some reason, you look like it wasn't hitting you, and it possibly was. But I want to give you your flowers, man. And whether you choose to stay with the club and take on a role, whether you choose to play on for another year, because I do think there's clubs that can do it through experience, you deserve your flowers, man. And I really want to give that to you. And all the best with whatever you decide to do on your next journey. Die Hond. 3 players. Yes, 3 players that I feel need this message. I speak as a concerned football lover. I speak as someone who is supporting their careers. Speaking as hoping that they know what opportunity that they have that lies ahead of them. Zuma, who was released by Kaizer Chiefs. Mbule, who's just joined Mamelodi Sundowns. And Mhango, who seems to be on the move to AmaZulu. As the chairman of AmaZulu, Zungu, said that he could be joining the club, and as well as Zuma could be joining the club as well. But at their previous clubs, Zuma at Chiefs, Mbule at SuperSport United, Mhango at Orlando Pirates, had their ups and downs. I don't think it didn't end in the way they probably wanted it to end. But I do want to tell them that, football is not a career that it goes on forever. And I would hope that the new chapter that they take, whichever club that they go to, of course, Mbule is confirmed, but they would take it seriously. Zuma's 27. Mbule is 24. Mhango is 29. Where did the time go? And I don't think there's a lot of players who had the opportunity to have a second chance to make things right. And especially for you, Mhango, you were not playing in the last couple of games for Orlando Pirates, or probably even majority of the season, but you scored goals for your national team. So I hope you guys take this seriously, because before you know it, football will be gone. So I hope you guys take your chances. Football clubs killing careers. So how did this all start? Mbule made his move to Mamelodi Sundowns, congratulated him, and within the comments, it was said that, is he going to play? Considering the fact that there's so many players within his position that are playing there at Sundowns already. And it was followed up with, there goes Mamelodi Sundowns again, killing careers. And I have to tell you, man, I don't subscribe to that conversation. I don't like using that kind of conversation. Some of the people have used it as weakening the opposition whenever a club buys another player from another team, especially considering if it's Sundowns as well, weakening the opposition. For me, if a player's able to see the picture that at this football club that potentially I could go to, there's about 6 to 7 players that play within my position, why would they go? And I think as much as you guys want to place responsibility on the clubs killing the careers, I think players need to be asked, why did they go there? I think players need to take responsibility for their own careers with their agents. If a player is only motivated by money, the reason why I went there is because they're going to pay me a lot, then that's the players that we have at this current moment. Then that's the players that we have that are only motivated by money. If you grew up kicking a soccer ball and that was your motivation to become the best and all that stuff, and I don't mind players having to fight to get more pay. We all do it within our working worlds and all that stuff. We all want to be paid more for what we do. But if your motivation is just money and not necessarily to get better on a football pitch, play more games for your national team, play more games overseas maybe, play for the Arsenals, the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, the Bayern Munichs. If it's not that, the one thing I love about football, if your only motivation is money, in the long run, you're going to pay for it. and not in the way you think you're going to pay. It's that time now for Bet of the Week. So, Bet of the Week, I give you my bet slip, hoping that it lights in green and hoping that yours would light in green as well. And I have to say, I'm happy. Birds flying high. You know how I feel. Sun in the sky. You know how I feel. Trees drifting on by. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new week. It's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. I won my bet, guys. I won my bet. Yes, I won my bet. I got all of them right. And as you can see on screen, I won a considerable amount. And I took myself out. Yeah, I took myself out. I think I deserve that. So this week, we're going for another one. Haymaker this time. I'm going to take a risk, and I'm going to go with just straight wins. So match results, straight wins. No overs and unders. No both teams to score. We're going straight wins. First one, Rwanda going up against Senegal. I think Senegal cleans Rwanda. I think Sadio Mane is going to come back scoring the goals again. So I would say a win for that one. Switzerland going up against Spain. Switzerland were really poor against Portugal. I mean, the way that they played and the goals that they conceded, you just could see that they were just not the same side. But in the same hand, Spain are not putting chances away. But I just think they'll be able to hold so much possession and be able to create chances and be able to score at least one goal. So I'm going with a Spain win on that one. And then last but not least, Austria going up against France. That's towards the weekend. And I just think France, with the way that they're playing, it's not the France you would expect them to be, but because they've just got so much quality on the pitch, I expect them to do the business against Austria. And with that, my odds are sitting at 3.87. That means 3 times. It comes back in threefold. And I'm telling you, I got the haymaker last week. This week, I'm going for that knockout punch. But always remember to place your bets right here on betway.co.za. We've come to the end of the show. So, yeah, all those stories out and dusted. I know there's some of you watching saying, but how come he didn't put Morocco and Bafana on his bet slip? I can't do that, man. Whatever you do not mix your heart with the bet slip. All the best to Bafana playing on Thursday. It's a big game. I think they can be able to come back with a point at least. With that said, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell button so that you're notified for future episodes. See you guys next week.